Good morning. Today we are continuing on with our expressions, working on CO37. With CO36, we did the adding and subtracting. So today we're doing the multiplying and dividing. So I can interpret and write mathematical and algebraic expressions with multiplication and division. Just like we did with addition and subtraction, we are going to make our table with the words that mean multiplication and the words that mean division. When it comes time for our test, it's going to be important that we put these tables on our help sheets because we're going to be having to know which verbal phrases to use for which operation. So it's important to be comfortable with these different verbal phrases. So let's see what kind of verbal phrases, what kind of words do we know mean multiplication? Jack.
Times.
Times. What else means multiplication? Rhoda.
Multiplied by.
Multiplied by. What else might mean multiplication? Presley. Product. When we talk about the answer for addition, we know that was the sum. The answer for subtraction was the difference. The answer for multiplication is the product. What's another one? Leo. Of. So we know when something says what is 5% of 20? Of means to multiply. We can also call that groups of. So it could just be of by itself, or it could be groups of. That's all I have on my list for multiplication, but that doesn't mean that that's the only ones. There, we might discover there's more. We can add to our list if we need to. Now, what about words that mean division? Vinny.
Divided by.
Divided by. What else? Presley.
Quotient.
A quotient. We know the answer for the multiplication was the product. The answer for division product or problem is quotient. Shantrea.
Groups of.
Groups. So groups of, so if we say 4 groups of 7, we're multiplying it. But if we say into groups of, so 35 put into groups of 5, that's when we divide it. So it's super similar, right? So we just need to know that instead of groups of, it's putting it into groups of. So it sounds close, but that word putting them into those groups, we're dividing it down into groups. Those keywords are what we need to see to know the difference between the multiply and the divide. Fernanda.
Objects divided.
Yep, we could say the divided. Yep. Any other thoughts? There's not a lot for the division that I have on my list, but again, we can always add to it. Okay? All right, so like we did yesterday, we're going to be putting verbal phrases into expressions, and then we'll put expressions into verbal phrases. So let's practice with a couple. So if we say 2 times a number, what would that look like? Joy? Yeah, we could put 2 with that multiplication symbol and the N. But if we want to be proper mathematicians, it's going to look a little different. Anybody know what it's going to look like if we're doing proper math? When we take our math test next week on math, how are we going to see it, Shantrea?
And with the exponent?
Not with the exponent, because that means it's going to be n times itself. And we want it times 2. What they do, remember, if we see the number right next to the letter, we see the number right next to a parenthesis, that means multiply. They just take out that multiplication symbol. It's one of those invisible math things that happen. We just have to know when we see a number right next to a letter, it means multiply. So when we're doing those formulas for volume and surface area, and I say, or just the area, I say the area of a circle is pi r squared. So we know pi is 3.14, maybe the radius is 5 squared. Because pi is right next to the r, it's just implied that it means multiply. Okay, so we don't write out those multiplication symbols all the time. We just have to know that it belongs there. So if you write it 2 with the multiplication symbol and n, it means the same thing as 2n. I'll still give you credit for it. Okay. If you want to write it the proper way, like the way we're going to see it on the math test, you can do that also. So I'll accept either way. But we just need to know as we progress on with math, the older we get, the higher math level classes, we will only see it this way with it no multiplication symbol. We just have to know that it belongs there. Does that make sense? All right, let's do one more. The quotient of 18 and a number. What would that look like? Michael?
18 divided by 1.
Yeah. 18 with our division symbol and n. There is one other way we could write this. Any guess? Joy?
18 over.
18 over n. Because remember that fraction bar means divide. So you can see that division expression written either way. They're both correct. We always put the first number on top, the last one on bottom. Either one would be acceptable. And when we see expressions and we have to write the verbal phrase for it, we need to remember if our expression has that fraction, it means the top divided by the bottom. You're going to do the rest on your own. Down here it says write each mathematical expression as a verbal phrase in 2 ways. So remember we talked about that yesterday, how those verbal phrases, you can use any of those ones in that chart up above. So use 2 of them, okay? So if we have 25 divided by n, you could say the quotient of 25 and a number. You could say 25 put into groups of n. Is that into groups of? Right? So write it in 2 ways. So make sure you're using 2 different words from up above. And then on the bottom, it says determine whether you would multiply or divide in the given situation. Oh, this is using different words. They are not in our table, but you can add them to our table once you figure it out. If we are doubling our allowance, are we multiplying or dividing it? If we're going to double how much we get, what does it mean to double, Leo? Multiply, because it's getting bigger. So if it's something that's going to get bigger, we're going to multiply. If it's getting smaller, we're breaking it down. We are dividing. Okay, so if it's something that's going to go down to a smaller number, it means divide. Something that's going to a bigger number, you multiply. You can take those key words and add them to your chart above, because we're going to see those kind of words again on the test. We're not going to do any more out loud together. Is that what you wanted, or do you have a question? You wanted to do the next one? Okay, the next 3 you're going to try on your own, figuring out if you are multiplying or dividing. And all you have to do is just write the word. So we know for doubling, we multiply. Okay. Do the next 3 on your own, see if you can figure out if it's getting bigger, we are multiplying, if it's gonna get smaller, we're going to divide. This is a 1-pager today. So when you finish it up, you can work on those practice works that I checked in with people about. Retake day is on Friday. Some of us might be staying after school tomorrow or Thursday. Make sure you talk to parents and have them email me so I know parents are aware that you're gonna stay after, and I can get a plan and action on who's gonna be here for me to help on which day. You can work on your packet number 6. So keep working on that. We don't have Khan Academy this week. We'll get new Khan assignments on Friday. Check in with me if you get finished with all your math. If you get your math packet done, bring it to me and I'll check it right away. Any questions on today's math? Okay, quietly get to work. If you are watching this at home, I hope you are well, and I hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful day.